Hello, and welcome to Eyes of the Dragon, chapters 110. Oh no, 101 to 110. Sorry, I was off on my numbers. 101 to 110 is what we're looking at here. All right, it's a pretty quick summary, so here we go. We start with Peter deciding he will wait the one day to escape, and he writes Dennis the note. He's got to use his blood, he doesn't have any ink. So he uses his blood. Dennis finds a note after much searching and some help from his father's voice in his head, so some supernatural there. And Dennis finds a note, goes back to the napkin room, goes to sleep, and wakes up to a creature above him, and we're left on a cliffhanger. Next chapter goes right to Naomi, Ben, and Frisky, who are tracking Dennis. And this is kind of like an adventure tale. They're off on this adventure, they're tracking Dennis. They save Frisky from drowning. There's some light flirting between Ben and Naomi. And we end with this cliffhanger, also this section, with Frisky leaping into the darkness. Now, we as a reader know he's leaping into the sewer pipe that Dennis went through earlier, but Naomi and Ben have no idea what he's doing. So we jump then to realizing we're back to Dennis and the creature's over him, and we know now that the creature is Frisky. And so we have a Ben, Naomi, and Dennis catch-up. Pretty sweet reunion between Ben and Dennis. And they catch each other up. They tell each other how they got there. And they make a plan to save Peter. But the plan is not told to us, the readers. It says Ben has a plan, and then he says it, and then we get some ... And then it says this is what we're going to need, and we get some ... So that's a little frustrating. So it ends with us jumping to Thomas. We haven't seen Thomas in a while, and he's basically the same. Lonely, drunk, up sleepwalking again, and oh, sorry, I almost dropped you. Oh, hang on. And it ends with him, all right. Oh, what's going on here, guys? Hang on. I have to pause. Okay. Ends with him behind the eyes of Niner. Behind the eyes of Niner. So he's pretty much in the same situation he's always in. So that's really it for content. We have a weather report, of course, and this is a big one. So now the storm is here, this storm that's been foreshadowed, and we talked about how storms symbolize conflict, and the wind is howling. It's the greatest storm ever. It's 25-foot drifts, etc. People are going to die in it. So it's here. It is here. We have some figurative language. We have another allusion. Did you catch it on 322? Here, I'm going to read it to you. It's talking about the storm and what's going to happen during the storm. Some farmhouses blew over as the houses of the indolent pigs were blown over by the wolf's hungry breath in the old story. So, allusion to, you got it, the three little pigs. He throws in another little nursery rhyme thing going on, like he did last time with Humpty Dumpty. So that gets in there. We also have some imagery, imagery using the different senses. So we've got some sight and some smell and some feel here. This is on page 324, and we are with Thomas inside the little room, and he's looking through Niner's eyes. It says, "And here we will leave the unfortunate boy for a while, with the smell of wine surrounding him and the tears of regret running from his sleeping eyes and down his cheeks." Chef's Kiss King, that's written so well. You can smell the wine, see the tears rolling down, feel the tears on his cheeks. You just feel it for this kid, this horrible, horrible kid, but you feel for him, which leads us to a little bit of the narrator insertion. So we'll start with that. Right after that imagery, King does a little where he's going to talk as the narrator, telling you what he thinks. And he says he was sometimes a cruel boy, often a sad boy, and he almost always been a weak boy. And he calls him the pretend king. But even now I must tell you that I do not believe he was ever really a bad boy. So we're back to the dog references for Thomas. And then he says, if you hate him because of the things he did and the things he allowed to be done, I will understand. But if you do not pity him a little as well, I will be surprised. So King's telling you to pity him. He thinks you should pity him. He wants you to pity him, and he did that imagery to set it up to pity him. Do you pity Thomas? How do you feel about Thomas? Do you just hate him? Do you think he's done horrible things? He doesn't stand up for himself. He lets Flag run all over him. He's jealous of Peter. Or do you pity him? Do you feel like, there's really no other way he could have gone? What is your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Thomas? Pity, hate, what is it? The other insertion is with the rope. With the rope, we find out from the narrator that the rope that he's made, I must tell you now that Peter's rope was bound to break. He missed one important lesson when you talk about the breakage, the breaking strain, that the longer it is, the longer the cord, the sooner the break. So Peter is not going to make it. This rope that he has, we now as readers know, he is going to fall. It says, it was bound to break, I tell you, and the cobbles below waited to catch him and break his bones and bleed away his life. He is going to die, according to the narrator. That rope is not going to hold. So unless something happens, Peter is dying tonight when he goes down the tower, Rapunzel style, with a rope, not his hair. Remember, this is kind of a big old homage to Rapunzel. So we've got how he's getting out of the tower. He's not going down on hair, he's going down on a rope. But unlike Rapunzel's hair, this is going to break. He's going to fall. He's told us. So we'll see. Fairy tale wise, is this book a fairy tale? Is going to be one of the questions you have to answer. How is it fairy tale? How is it not? We have the homage to Rapunzel with him. We're talking about the rope coming out of the tower, but I really think this section is kind of less fairy tale, more adventure story. Now they're on an adventure. So I think King weaves adventure story in here too. I think you can make the argument that this is more adventure story than fairy tale here. So just putting that out there for you. All right, we've got 2 listener questions today, both coming from Miss Jura's Third Block. Damon Wessel wanted to know if the character of Curran, who King says is one of the lesser wardens, and he's going to become a priest because he's so frightened by Peter when he has the fever. And King, as the narrator says, that's a story for later. And Damon asked whether or not that would actually be a story later. Has Stephen King written that story? And the answer is no. Stephen King has not written that story. Maybe he will someday, but he has not written a story about a character named Curran. And Chris Carter, also from Miss Jura's Third Block, wrote in to ask my opinion of Captain America: Brave New World. And my honest opinion was, meh. That's about it. That's all I can say about it. Meh. So there you have our listener questions for today. Keep them coming. We only have, I think, 2 more videos after this. Or I think 3, but 2 of them will come together to you. So if you've got questions, get them to me soon. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.